Labubus.
I love the blue one.
They're everywhere. I can't escape them. No, leave me alone. Please just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Oh, what a terrible nightmare. It feels like I can't escape those things. Oh, look at that. They just dropped a teaser for the new South Park episode. Thank God. Something to finally take my mind off these weird dolls. Wait, no, leave me alone. Please, just leave me alone, leave me alone. So the new episode of South Park just came out, and honestly, when I saw the teaser, I could not contain my excitement. We were gonna get a whole episode all about Labubus, the hit new collectible that women all across the nation are dying to get their hands on. But of course, I'm not like all the other guys. I love Labubus. I keep them all over my bag I bring to my local matcha shop where I study feminist literature and listen to Claro. I'm also 6'3", by the way. I mean, you know me. Pilates, sipping Labubu Dubai chocolate matcha latte with AirPods in, bumping the Nelk Boys Netanyahu podcast.
Like Burger King over McDonald's?
That's your worst take, I think.
Where am I? What happened? Dude, you had another performative male consumerist episode. Oh, really? Again? Damn, I really need to get off TikTok. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I wrote this script at like 3:30 in the morning, and it all made a lot more sense when I was writing it. I have no clue what any of this means. I am so sorry. Let's get back to talking about this new episode of South Park. In all seriousness, it was a pretty solid episode. They went after all sorts of things: tariffs, Christianity, satanic rituals, Labubus, Fox News, the president, and of course, Satan Mpreg. Which was definitely a bold choice, but I respect it. Overall, this episode had plenty of funny moments and scathing commentary, and I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's the best of the season, but it's definitely a step up from the previous episode in my opinion. So now, let's get to talking about Jesus being a school counselor, Satan being pregnant, and of course, the Labubu addiction sweeping the nation. Speaking of bad habits, I personally have quite a few of them, and I have a tendency to mindlessly start reaching for them whenever I'm stressed or bored, but that's not a problem for me anymore thanks to today's sponsor, Fume. Fume offers a simple and enjoyable way to break away from bad habits while still having something satisfying to reach for. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavors that satisfy the craving without the downside. Fume's premium wooden design is built for both flavor and function. It's the perfect way to keep your hands busy or to curb an urge. I personally love the magnetic fidget features. They add an extra layer of satisfaction, and they make it perfect for relieving stress or staying focused. With a high-quality build and sleek aesthetic, Fume feels premium in your hand and is easy to take anywhere, whether you're at work, traveling, or just relaxing at home. My personal favorite flavor is sparkling grapefruit, but Fume offers tons of different flavors, so there's something for everyone. Over 500,000 people have already made the switch to Fume as part of their habit change journey, and if you're ready to try it for yourself, now's the time. For a limited time, if you order the Journey Pack using my code BLOOMS, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. So go ahead and click the link tryfume.com/blooms or scan the QR code on the screen to get yours today. Again, that is tryfume.com/blooms, and thank you to Fume for sponsoring this video. The episode opens with two girls discussing their new Labubus in the hall. Cartman quickly takes notice and lets everyone know it's about to go down. When one of the girls accuses the other of potentially having a bootleg Labubu, things escalate very quickly and they start throwing hands. So fun fact, the blonde girl whose name is Betsy is actually voiced by Trey Parker's 12-year-old daughter Betty, and I have to imagine that your dad asking you to say this kind of stuff has to be the most fun a 12-year-old could possibly have.
If anyone's fake, it's probably yours, you fat bitch. Suck it, skank. Shit.
So the girls get sent to the counselor, who is Jesus, after Mr. Mackey went to work for ICE. He's pretty confused by all of this, and he asks the same question that I'm sure much of my older audience is asking right now.
What is a Labubu?
So if you don't know, Labubus are these little monster doll things from Hong Kong which have absolutely exploded in popularity in recent times. Their whole gimmick is that you buy a box and you don't know what kind you're going to get until you open it, with some Labubus being much rarer than others. The rarest, most coveted ones have sold for upwards of tens of thousands of dollars. Essentially, they're just collectible accessories that you get by gambling and flex on your friends with. Now this is the part where the cynical side of me wants to talk about how this is so dumb and I just don't understand it, but given my past addiction to opening Counter-Strike cases, I'm not gonna lie, I totally understand it. So Jesus decides the best way to prevent any more fights is to just confiscate the dolls for the rest of the day. Meanwhile, Butters is on the playground with Scott Malkinson and Dougie when Red comes up and asks him nervously if he wants to come to her birthday party. He's absolutely shocked that she would ask him to come, but he agrees to come, and she sends him her birthday wish list, which is less of a list and more of just a single item, a Labubu. So of course to us, it's immediately clear that Red is trying to manipulate Butters into buying her the Labubu by making making him think that she's interested in him romantically, which reminded me a lot of the Raisins episode from back in season 7. But of course, Butters is just as clueless as usual.
I think on Saturday I'm gonna find out if red-haired girls have a red bush.
Now, what I found very funny about this line in particular is that it reestablishes a character trait in Butters that we haven't seen since season 14, and that's that he is canonically obsessed with bushes.
I never seen that part of a lady. Do they all got a hedge like that?
I don't know if they just wanted to make this joke and the fact that it was Butters was just a coincidence, but I like to think it was intentional and I really appreciated it. So Butters goes to visit the Asian pop-up shop, which is just City Walk converted into an Asian pop-up shop. And when Butters mentions this, Liu Kim explains what has changed.
Didn't you hear the news? Walkie's dead.
I thought this was a funny callback to one of the major through lines of the season, that Woke is officially dead, which is what Cartman was complaining about back in the first episode. So Butters tries to buy the specific Labubu that Red wants, but Liu Kim explains the whole mystery box thing that I explained a second ago. So Butters is forced to buy a mystery box, which is significantly more expensive because of the tariffs in place, which Liu Kim explains the economics of to Butters.
Yeah, you gotta pay tariff. You think I pay tariff? No, you pay tariff.
Using Labubus to comment on how tariffs push the expenses to the customer rather than the company was a pretty clever way to make the point, but what I really liked about this scene was all the callbacks we got to previous episodes. For example, Liu Kim selling various Chinpokomons, which honestly the whole Labubu plot of this episode reminded me a lot of the original Chinpokomon episode, so I'm glad they threw that Easter egg in. And of course the fact that we got to see Wing again, which I totally didn't expect. If you don't know, Wing was established as Liu Kim's wife in her own episode back in season 9. The character is actually a parody of a real woman, and her appearance in the episode has an insane backstory, which is way too much to explain in this video, so I recommend you go check out my every South Park celebrity parody explained video if you want to know more. But yeah, it was super cool to see her again. I'm pretty sure it was her first speaking role since that episode back in season 9, which is just insane. We then cut to a Fox News alert whose reporters are busy asking Donald Trump about only the most pressing issues.
Are you fucking Satan? He is fucking Satan.
Meanwhile, Jesus is in a meeting at school with the rest of the staff, expressing his concern over the amount of fights that have broken out because of the Labubus. The rest of the teachers show him a Labubu unboxing TikTok, which quickly takes a very dark turn.
Okay, let's see. Oh my god! Oh my god!
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah, Labubus are demonic.
I don't know if they come that way from China or their kids are infusing them with some Sumerian dark entity.
It's Mesopotamian.
Honestly, this was probably my favorite scene from the whole episode. Making the rare Labubus be used in demonic rituals was a hilarious way to make fun of the cult-like following these things have developed. And also, it's actually become a pretty popular conspiracy that Labubus are actually demonic, being based on the Mesopotamian demon Pazuzu, known for bringing chaos to the world. Now, the creator says that Labubus were actually inspired by Nordic fairy tales and mythology, and that there's nothing demonic about them, but of course, that's exactly what a Satanist would say to keep a low profile. But because Christian conservative mothers like to call every new trend demonic and get all of their information directly from Facebook, there's a large portion of teenage girls who may never be allowed to own their very own Labubu. How tragic. So Butters didn't get the right Labubu, so when he goes back to buy another mystery box, he finds out that the price has gone up even more due to the tariffs. He can't even afford to buy a new one, so Liu Kim tells him to try to win it out of the claw machine, which is basically still gambling to get the one that you want. We get another breaking news alert from Fox, who continues to glaze Trump for his relationship with Satan.
I think the president is definitely fucking Satan, and I love it.
Yeah, this whole bit is not exactly subtle. So Jesus goes to investigate the Asian pop-up shop, and he warns Liu Kim that the dolls are cursed. And I thought Liu Kim's response was incredibly funny.
Yeah, no shit, they cursed. It's called tariff. You passed it along. I the curse, I put the curse on you. It's like an AIDS.
While they're distracted, Butters manages to get lucky and win the rare Labubu, and he dips out before Jesus can warn him. So meanwhile, at the White House, Satan is feeling pretty down about all of this when, of course, my new favorite character shows up just in time to comfort him.
Why are you so sad?
I genuinely think this is the one bit from this season that will never get old to me. I don't know what it is, but JD Vance's character is so funny and I can never get enough of it. So Satan reveals to Vance that he can't leave because of something inside a box, but he's not willing to reveal what it is yet. So Butters shows up to Red's party with the new Labubu, and Red absolutely loses her mind, telling Butters how much she loves him. And with this Labubu, the ritual can take place. But Butters doesn't really seem to understand what's going on.
We're gonna go upstairs and do it! Whoa, we're gonna what?
She immediately gets started with the ritual, and Butters watches on in horror as the Dark One is summoned. Satan ends up showing up as well, which of course means that Fox News has the coverage. But just as Satan goes to leave, Jesus shows up to face him. And honestly, I was half expecting them to start throwing hands like they did back in season 1, but instead, Jesus just commands him to leave this realm. Seeing no other option, Satan finally confirms the rumors about him and Trump and says that he can't leave because he's pregnant. Okay. Fox News then calls on to their resident scientist to confirm that this is indeed possible.
The term is butt baby.
And most importantly, they cut to Kid Rock being overcome with emotion upon hearing the news. The episode ends with Jesus banning Labubus and TikTok from school, and Butters and Red both get 3 weeks detention. So now let's talk about what I liked about this episode and what all of this could mean moving forward. So without a doubt, my favorite part of this episode was definitely the satanic rituals being done with Labubus. I'm a massive sucker for when a comedy will suddenly introduce elements of horror into a story, which is probably why I love Woodland Critter Christmas so much, and I think here it was done super well. The initial scene of the ritual was genuinely creepy, and it made for one of the funniest moments from this episode in my opinion. I also think it's interesting how the girls just kind of go along with the satanic rituals seemingly without any purpose besides making a TikTok. Like none of them ever explain why they're actually doing the ritual. They're essentially driven into literal Satanism exclusively for TikTok clout, which is sadly not too far off from reality. I also really liked that Liu Kim played such a large role in this episode. He's always funny, and he ended up being a pretty appropriate choice to play the role of the company passing the tariff expenses off to the customer, considering his long history of bizarre business ventures. It was also nice to have Jesus play a leading role in an episode again. It's been a very long time since he's truly been one of the main focuses of an episode, and I thought he worked really well here, essentially playing the straight man to contrast just how absurd all of the Labubu demon worship stuff was. He had some pretty funny moments, and the parallels with this episode and season 1's Damien were definitely not lost on me. You know, Satan having a child and having an epic showdown with Jesus, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought Butters was also pretty great in this episode. Like I mentioned earlier, I love the random callback to his bush obsession, and I really enjoyed the similarities that this episode had with Raisins. Although one thing that is kind of different is that it seems like Red might actually like Butters, at least a little bit, but I mean, who knows? It definitely was set up to make it seem like she was just using him. And I didn't mention it earlier, but at the end of the episode when Jesus is talking to Butters and Red, Butters says this.
Yeah, I'm not having sex for a long time.
The reason I didn't mention it earlier is because I really didn't understand that line. Like, you didn't even have sex, why would you say that? But literally as I'm writing the script, I just realized that Butters still thinks they did have sex and that the whole satanic ritual thing is just how you have sex. And now that I understand that, that is actually a pretty hilarious line. Satan also played a big role in the episode, and for me personally, it will always be funny to have the devil play the role of a soft, sensitive, dejected lover trying to navigate a toxic relationship. That's a huge part of what made the South Park movie so great, and it's great here as well. And like I mentioned, the JD Vance scene was so funny to me. I know it's so stupid, he just looks funny, but it's that combined with his voice and the things he says. I don't know, dude. It's the funniest shit ever to me, and I don't know why. Now, having Satan be pregnant with Trump's baby definitely feels like it's setting up to be a large part of the rest of the season, and I'm pretty interested to see where they go with it. I wonder if they're gonna bring back Damien, since he was shown to be Satan's son back in season 1, and I think it would be pretty cool to see him again. And if you know anything about the modern South Park fandom, particularly the younger crowd, if they brought back Damien on top of the Mpreg stuff, certain subsets of the fandom will never shut up about it. Now, in terms of stuff I didn't like as much about this episode, the first thing you're probably expecting is the Fox Trump stuff. Now, I will say I didn't dislike this part of the episode. I found it mildly amusing. There just wasn't a lot of substance to it. For the most part, it was just the same gag of Fox fanboying over the fact that Trump is fucking Satan. The joke, of course, being that not only is he fucking Satan, but he's also fucking Satan. It seems like Matt and Trey are really into these wordplay jokes this season, and I don't mind them personally. It wasn't annoying or anything, it was just forgettable for the most part. But I actually think that almost played in its favor. In the last couple of episodes, it felt like the Trump stuff can sort of derail the main plot, but here I felt like it was just sort of there as a bit of filler to add on top of the main plot, which sounds like a bad thing, but in my opinion, I liked it better this way than when the Trump stuff just completely dominates like it has recently. And my last major complaint about this episode has to be, once again, the lack of the boys. I mean, I've said it in my last 2 videos, but it just continues to apply. I would love nothing more than a plot focused around the main boys. Now, don't get me wrong, this was still a solid episode all around, but like I've said, the boys are the core of this show. I mean, we're 4 episodes in, and Kyle has had literally 2 lines the entire season so far, and Stan hasn't had a major role either in any of the episodes. I'm still holding out hope that they're gonna go back to the boys at some point, because the boys are the reason that we all came to love South Park in the first place. But with that, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about this episode. All around, it was solid and had a lot of funny moments. If I were ranking the episodes of the season, I'd probably put this one behind the first 2, but above the third one. It was good, and I'm hoping for something even better next. So I'll talk to you guys again in 2 weeks. Also, quick reminder to go check out Fume. I've been fidgeting with it this entire time I've been making this video, so seriously, go check it out. Awesome product. Thank you for sponsoring the video.